class of the semester, but we are having a final, we're meeting during the final exam period, which is Monday, May 9th. And I know we're all used to coming here at 4 o'clock, but it starts at 3 o'clock. So write it down, get it in your brains, on your calendar, that it's 3 o'clock that we're starting on May 9th. And we have a number of speakers who are going to be presenting on May 9th, so it may take, it won't take more than 3 hours, but we should start at 3 rather than another time. So come at 3. Catherine Wilkinson, she got the prize for this semester, this past week, so could you send me a digital file? They're getting much better, as you notice. There's lots of check pluses, so you improve your writing during this semester. Okay, so for the ones that we're going to be doing, we're only having one presentation today, and then we're going to do an exit survey that the TMB department uses for assessment. So that should, it's not a test, you don't have your name on it, but we're asking you some questions that relate to required classes that you had here, plus just about your experiences at URI, what you did for, if you did study abroad, if you made presentations in some of the classes, worked on group projects, things like that. We're looking for your experiences, plus a little bit of the knowledge. So that will happen after we hear from Heather Levinson, who is brave enough to be the first presenter today. And she is a TMD major, graduating this spring, and where are you from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay. Lots of people from New Jersey on the URI campus. But she's going to be talking today about why are most couture designers men, which is an interesting question since we've been talking a lot about gender and diversity in this class. So for this, and for the subsequent speakers who are going to be talking on May 9th, if you write a long paragraph instead of a full page, that's sufficient for these summaries. Okay? You can bring this one in next time, and then the following ones you can just put them into the Dropbox. I'll still be picking ones to put on the digital commons. I know a lot of you have gotten good grades all the way along, so your turn is coming. Try not to use the same people more than once. Give everybody a chance to be up on digital commons.
So for the next weeks, are we supposed to write one about each of the speakers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when are those due?
When should we have them due? Make a suggestion.
The 15th?
The 15th? I have to read them before the exam, the grades go up, so.
The grades go up.
What is the last, I have 2 exams on the 12th. When is the last day of
How long do they have to be?
Just a paragraph.
Oh, paragraph.
The last day is the 13th.
Pardon?
The last day is the 13th.
The last day is the 13th? We can remember, is that a Friday?
Yeah.
Let's do it on Friday the 13th.
Well,
I think they're going to be 6. 6 paragraphs. You're not listening. This is the 3rd time we said this. 1 paragraph. Okay. Is Jean here today?
I think she's upstairs.
Okay. That's the question. Yes.
Can we put all the paragraphs on just like one page, or do you want it as a separate document?
I think 6 paragraphs on 1 page would be,
Okay.
like, that's too short. Then you'd have like 4 lines for each one, because you need to have a header.
No, I mean, do you want like 6 separate documents, or can
No, it
we just
doesn't have to be.
continue them onto?
No, if they're in a, don't do a PDF, do a Word doc, because a Word doc I can pull off and just send to the digital commons. later.
Okay, so, okay,
Yeah, so just, you can run them together,
okay.
okay? Any other questions? So if you're worried about grades and things, and if you're getting check pluses now, those will negate the check minuses, so you end up with an even score all the way along. So missing material, I can't really do a lot about that. If you had an excused absence, that's one thing. If you had an absence that was not excused and you still watched the video and turned something in, then it's not as bad as if you just blew the whole thing off. So anyway, it's kind of a, I look at the line and make the grade at the end. It's not too bad, unless you've missed a whole lot of stuff. Right? Okay, so Heather, what are you doing?
Can everyone hear me okay? Thank you, Dr. Walters, for the introduction. So my term paper is on why are most couture designers men. So I thought I'd begin the presentation by defining what haute couture is. The definition by the Merriam-Webster website says the houses or designers that create exclusive and often trend-setting fashions for women, also the fashions created. And I found it really interesting that women was in the legal definition of what haute couture is. This picture was taken from the Mode Art, and it features one of the models from the Alexander McQueen show, who is considered an haute couture designer. So who was the first courtier? The first courtier was Charles Frederick Worth, who happens to be male. He's also known as the father of couture. And Anne Hollander once said, Worth's customers delighted in being created by him, to the uneasiness of their husbands, lovers, and fathers, who footed the bills. So according to Anne Hollander's When Worth Was King, many men, husbands, and fathers weren't pleased at the thought of a man dressing their wives. However, Worth had built a reputation for himself that women would not stare to be dressed by anyone else. So Charles Frederick Worth once said, one must be a man to know how to dress a woman. As a man, Worth automatically was looked upon as an artist in a woman's business and was able to transcend certain looks. In order to be considered haute couture, the fashion house must be approved by the Chambre Syndicale des Hautes Couture Parisienne. So what is that? The regulating commission that determines which fashion houses are eligible to be true haute couture houses is currently chaired by Ralph Tolentino, and there are currently 92 members. Here are all the 92 members. Historically speaking, in the past, women traditionally have been taught to sew and make garments for their families, so it's ironic that men dominate the fashion industry and design aspect. In fashion documentaries such as The First Monday in May, which I would highly recommend everyone see, it's really interesting, and Dior and I, also a great movie, 99% of seamstresses and alters are women, so why are they not in charge? Is the media at fault for pushing men to be more prominent and well received by the public? As a result of women's liberation movement and men taking over the industry as creative directors, women have opened their own fashion houses, such as Donna Karan, Anne Klein, Laura Vanderbilt, Mary Quant, Zandra Rhodes, and Diane von Furstenberg, and so on. So some women that have started fashion houses and were very successful at it are Coco Chanel, Stella McCartney, Diane von Furstenberg, Donatella Versace, Lucia Prada, and Vera Wang. Although these are only a few of the women that have started fashion houses, and the list goes on, but there is not many more to add to the list. This image is of Diane von Furstenberg. So according to an article on Man Repeller, Style.com's highlight reel from the spring 2015 fashion show, out of the 15 designers that were mentioned, only 4 of them were ran by a woman. Even though women are entering the industry at the bottom, they are not rising proportionally to the top. Eric Wilson wrote that in the 2005 column for the New York Times. According to our presentation on April 6th, View of Women in the Media, given by Sabrito Sagna, I hope I pronounced that correctly, when searching for the term fashion designer in stock photography, we often stumble upon women, happy young females, who seem to be very excited to be in the workplace and have time to look up at the camera. But how come this is not reality? The few men that are associated with the search for fashion designer are shown to be too busy to look at the camera. whereas women pictured are not doing anything important and can stop their work to look up. So an example of this is Chanel's lead designer, Karl Lagerfeld, that's pictured in the top left corner. He's pictured in a black and white photograph with his signature look with black sunglasses on. Whereas Celine's lead designer, Phoebe Philo, has 3 images on her website, also black and white, but I feel these 3 images are to grasp a different personality and to find different consumer bases. So it's interesting how he only needs 1 photo to get consumers when she needs 3. Many people have heard of the term glass ceiling, but not many people have heard of the term glass escalator. According to womenempower.com, the glass escalator refers to how men in female-dominated careers, such as teaching and nursing, often rise higher and faster than women in male-dominated careers. The article then goes on to discuss several reasons and explain the phenomenon. One is that women are likely to experience career interruptions, such as leaving work to care for children, and another is, according to the research of Assistant Professor Dr. Karen Goldberg at the American University, men that work in female-dominated jobs, such as nursing, fashion, or teaching, tend to earn more than males who are in male-dominated jobs. But why is this? And every lead I took on this just led to more questions. So, are men more confident than women in business? In 2015, a survey showed that 16% of college women said that they were absolutely confident in getting a job post-graduation, whereas 27% of college men said that they were confident. The study also found that male employees are more likely to apply for a promotion when only meeting 60% of the qualifications, whereas females will wait until 100% of the qualifications have been met. The article then goes on to discuss how men are more likely to sit at a conference table and women at the area surrounding it, as well as how men are more likely to negotiate a starting salary when they first start the job. Anna Benjer, the Director of Research at Catalyst, which is a nonprofit organization that advocates for women in the workplace, said it's not about women at all. The article continued to discuss how it isn't the lack of confidence, but it may just be a cold realism, not an inherent character trait. There's an actual assessment at Barnes & Noble to find out if a female is too nice. Once the 15-minute assessment is done, you can find out how to correct your niceness level. So then that made me think, are women too polite in the workplace, and can they get more respect in the workplace? So when I was researching this topic, I came across dozens of articles and surveys on Google. Books such as Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office by Louis Frankel are meant to enlighten women to be more aggressive in the workplace. The only problem with this is that when a woman is telling someone what to do, she is considered bossy or the B word, whereas a man, he's just viewed as assertive. This is no new development, and it made me wonder why it is that when most women are considered reserved and nice in the workplace, are we just wired differently? As stated by the Ohio State University Research and Development, men and women differ when discussing whether to trust a stranger or not financially, and in other ways as well. A study found that men are more likely to trust people who are from the same group as them or family, whether it be race or gender, whereas women, it is their family, their friends, and their family and friends of family friends. How does this relate to the fashion industry? Since most financiers do not necessarily trust women unless they are family, it made me wonder if couture companies are playing it safe by mostly appointing males as lead designers. I use these images because I'm sure everyone is aware that Harriet Tubman is replacing President Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill, and that created controversy just because a woman was going on it. A controversial article was published by the New York Times in 2005 that quoted fashion designer, actress, and model Tara Subkoff saying that fashion is a gay man's profession. The difference between their attitudes towards the gay male dominance of the fashion industry illustrates a growing tension between those who feel they're discriminated against and those who feel somewhat favored by perception. Men are better designers than women, and gay men are the best designers of all, she said in the article. Mrs. Suphouse attended a panel discussion of Generation X fashion at the New York Festival and accused Anna Winters of only supporting young gay men designers. I could go through all 92 haute couture designers and tell you how many men have replaced women and vice versa, but since the list is so long, I picked a few to show you the discrepancy and the lack of female designers today. Men who have replaced women designers are such as the company Theory and Mugler. Nicola Formichetti was replaced by David Poma. Chanel, Coco Chanel was replaced by Pierre Cardin. Gucci, Frida Gianni was replaced by Alessandro Michel. And the one example to show you the unevenness for women that have replaced male designers is that Laban Bouchard Jara was replaced by Albert Elvez. As you can see, there's a huge discrepancy. So how did Chanel and Schiaparelli do it? How did they earn the respect to be considered one of the most influential designers still today? Coco Chanel and Schiaparelli are a few of the more successful female designers that were not only able to start their own fashion houses, but were able to make a name for themselves as well, especially during their time period when women were not in charge. Coco Chanel was an orphan and spent her entire life trying to gain the dignity and respect that would have never been awarded to someone born to her lot in life. Although she had no design training, no formal education, she set out to achieve the dreams and determination and hard work. Schiaparelli called upon the muses of irony, eccentricity, function without detracting from the sensuality of a woman's form. The designer was considered ugly by her family, so she decided to make something beautiful by designing. She was the first surrealist designer and is equivalent to our Alexander McQueen today. So what makes men have the right to dress us? How do men know what women like? I believe that because men don't know what it's like to be a woman, generally speaking, that is why women are constantly faced with wacky or uncomfortable fashions. Have men even worn a pair of heels? Historically speaking, yes. Men were the original wearers of heels. They felt that heels would help them show off their superiority, but it was later adopted by women. As you can see in this image, King Louis XIV is wearing heels. So in conclusion of my presentation, I have some questions that I was actually not able to find any answers to, and I was wondering what your opinions were on the matter. So if you guys could just take a look at the screen, and if there's a question that sparks your interest, just raise your hand and we could discuss it further.
So the one that says, are women wired to be nicer? I think that that's interesting because I remember when I took, culture, dress, and apparel, we were talking about how women like have this perceived look and how there's, like when you're younger, you're taught to be polite, you're taught to do things in certain ways. I think that that's an interesting topic to talk about, whether or not are you like taught to be like that just because you see the way your mom acts, versus, not to say that, I guess being polite is a big thing, like not,
Right, it gets into the whole nature versus nurture topic. Anyone else?
I'm going to speak about the same one. I think that in business that men can take a non-emotional stance when it comes to, dominance and being assertive and stuff like that, and women are always seen to have to be nice. We're always supposed to be generous, we're always supposed to be givers and all this other crap, so as soon as a woman says no, or is assertive, we're considered bitches, or, arrogant, or just being a pain. So I don't know what we can do to get over that, because men will continue to walk over us if we continue to be nice to them.
It seems like if there's a woman designer in the industry, it's
sort of seems like they design for their own label as opposed to if a man were to be hired by a house, it wouldn't be, there's definitely exceptions like Tom Ford and Armani and stuff like that, but if you think of Diane von Furstenberg or DKNY, Chanel, they all founded that. So, that could be an argument. In business, like, it seems like women are starting their own businesses, but I mean, I didn't really think about the men.
And one of the questions that I had that I really was hoping to get feedback on, but it doesn't seem like anyone's interested, is that since more women are graduating from college, does that going to affect our industry at all? Are women to be in more important positions in the future? I personally hope to see that happen, and I'm going to continue researching these topics, and although I've not found any leads on these, I hope that I can find something. But that concludes my presentation. Pictures.
Now I want to speak about this survey, which doesn't have a space for your name. The only time you're going to take a little questionnaire, you may not have to put your name on it. So
Should I turn off the camera?